Hi, my name is Brittany Opara, and today I will be discussing my research on the topic of sustainability while using the books you assigned American Earth and Environmental Ethics, while also using the books I decided to check out, Foundations of Environmental Sustainability and Greed to Green: Correcting Environmental Change. So basically, the first piece that I talked about that I really liked in the book, The American Earth, was the Man in the Earth piece, because it basically discusses how men are selfish because we live. It basically discusses how men are selfish because we live with no regard of how our actions will affect the future. And I kind of think that is very ironic because a few weeks ago we kind of discussed the topic of sustainability. And I think it's ironic because sustainability is that very thing, living with the notion or the mindset of how our actions will affect the future. This kind of leads me to my next piece, how flowers change the world. And what I basically got from this, well, basically it talks about how flowers are so small but they're very significant. And this kind of connected to sustainability, I feel like us as humans can sometimes take for granted something so small. So it's like we live with no regard of how our actions will affect the future. But if something like flowers were to cease to exist, humanity itself would be doomed. Animals would be doomed. We rely heavily on plants and stuff like that. That's why I think this piece is very advantageous, and I thought it was very important because it kind of opened up my eyes to like see certain things like that. Like I get up every single day, and like we get up every single day like it's another day. We get up, we go to school, we go to work. We just kind of have a certain routine. Everyone has a routine that they kind of follow, but we don't think about the things that kind of give us that oxygen. We don't think about the tree working overtime to make sure we breathing or something like that. I know it's like, now I really liked this book, The Foundations of Environmental Sustainability, because one big thing that I learned in this course is that it is easy to like attack someone's argument and tear them down, but it's the complicated part is like trying to find a solution to it. So it's like I talked about how we are selfish, we kind of take things for granted, but like the book, The Foundations of Environmental Sustainability, kind of tells us how we can take steps towards bettering the environment, towards having a more sustainable environment, and just be healthier in general. Now, the authors of The Foundations of Environmental Sustainability do discuss disparities involving the environment, but as I mentioned before, they also provide potential solutions, which is good because it's easy to complain, but it's hard to provide potential solutions. I like how they also discuss. Oh, let me backtrack a little bit. So some of the potential solutions they discuss is setting recovery goals, and also basically understanding. They kind of explain to the reader why it is important to understand land. So the part that I wanted to go to, which I'm going to go to now, is I love how they discuss that our attitudes, humanity's attitudes towards the environment, is very important because we now have the power to alter or destroy the environment, and I think that is very important. So a lot of people have a nonchalant attitude. So it's like I go into mention kind of like how it's kind of dangerous that we kind of understand the harm that we're doing, but we choose to ignore it. But I feel like if more people had a more, what's the word? I want to say empathetic, or I would say, I don't want to say sympathy. I would say empathetic, or that's not the quite word I'm looking for. I feel like if more people had more empathy, I guess I'm going to use that word, but towards the environment, it would be a better place. I feel like they would do more. They would do good by it. Hey, this leads me to my final point. My final book that I discussed was Greed to Green. And this book kind of basically does the same thing. The author but basically it kind of does the same thing from like a policy aspects. The author kind of criticizes and compliments some policies over environmental change under the Obama administration. But to wrap back around to my point, the reason why I chose these two books was because I wanted to create a problem-solution dynamic between them both. Man is nature and we are reliant. So we rely and we control it. We are reliant. Project this sign reading, and mainly these last two books kind of let me know how slow we are to change, even though we know we need to change, which is sad. But this kind of concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time, and low-key kind of sad I'm not going to be learning any more environmental stuff, but this was a fun semester. Thank you for your time, and thank you for listening. Bye.